Hey friends, come on in. It is Friday night and we're going to have a live session. We're going to talk some immigration news this Friday night. Welcome to this live session. Come on in. Welcome McBean Immigration TV. Welcome also Facebook and others who are on. Join me tonight for a live session. We have some important immigration news to talk about, friends. Some important immigration news to talk about. So as you're coming on board, as usual, say hello and let me know who is watching and where you're watching from, and say freedom now, freedom now. Guys, I know we're going to talk about immigration news in this one, but I just feel that energy around freedom, and that's what immigration brings, that freedom. So type in freedom now if you believe that. Hey there, Diego. Hey there, McBean Immigration TV. Philip. Hey, hi, Juan. Thanks for being with me tonight. Hey there, Althea. Nice to have you on tonight as well from Facebook. I'm feeling energized. I feel great. It's the end of the day, and everyone's pretty much gone. It's time for us to do other things with our life, right? The weekend is here, but I wanted to come on board and talk with you guys about some really important immigration news that we reported out tonight in our weekly newsletter. Hey there, Rajiv, nice to see you. Nikki, freedom now with that exclamation point, right? Yes, feel that energy. Feel that energy. Freedom is not next week. It's not tomorrow. It's now, and we want it now. And in fact, one of the news that I will share with you tonight has to do with something very promising that is being discussed by the White House that can bring some freedom to folks who are here in the United States. So I'm feeling energized. Hey there, Betty. For those of you who have immigration problems or you have an immigration case and you're looking to go in a different direction or get another opinion or work with a firm that you know, like, and trust, reach out to us on Monday and book a consultation with one of our attorneys or with me. I'd love to meet with you and get going with your immigration case, okay? We're here for you. Go to McBeanLaw.com where you could also just put in your information, your name and number, and we'll call you on Monday and get your consultation booked. Hey there, Sophia, first time catching the live. Welcome, welcome. So I have not done a news live like this in maybe a year, okay, a year, but who's counting, right? You guys didn't miss this. But so let's get into some very good immigration news, okay? I'm really looking forward to having this discussion with you. So we're going to get right into it. Again, this is coming from our weekly immigration news that went out tonight. And if you're not yet subscribed to our newsletter, guys, subscribe right now or afterwards at McBeanLaw.com/subscribe and get our top 7 immigration news every Friday delivered straight to your inbox. You'll also get good news stories, Q&As, and some other great content that we share each week on Thursday nights as well. Great content. Thank you all for subscribing. If you've subscribed, just type in now, I'm a subscriber, I've subscribed. Okay, so the first big issue that I think we really need to talk about, okay? And I'm going to pull up the article from Axios, okay? Really important issue. And it's about the fact that Americans are starting to think differently about immigration. Okay, there's a recent poll that was done just to kind of get the temperature about how Americans are feeling about the idea of mass deportations, which is a huge issue that Donald Trump talks about as he is, we're really deep into the election season or cycle, and that is a huge topic, this idea of mass deportations. And so in this article, America warms to the idea of mass deportation. Check this out, guys. Here we have, let me just scroll down a little bit. Here we have the general public, 51%, right? The question really is, do they support mass deportations of undocumented immigrants? And 51% of the general public say yes to that, okay? And then here we have some data around the race and political affiliation and age and other things like that. And so we're seeing that a significant amount of people think it's okay to have mass deportations, which, as you guys have heard me say in the past, maybe the idea of mass deportations is actually quite unrealistic, okay? Because we just don't have the infrastructure to support that idea. But according to this article, half of Americans, including 42% of Democrats say they'd support mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, according to this new poll. And 30% of Democrats, as well as 46% of Republicans, now say they'd end birthright citizenship, something guaranteed under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. And so why does this even matter? Why does it matter? Well, Americans are open to the rhetoric or the policy position of President Trump. And this is the harshest of his immigration plans. And of course, we know that the border crossings, the record surge of illegal border crossings, it has really sparked this change, I think, in public opinion. So, guys, this I think is really interesting because here you have Democrats who are supporting mass deportations. And so this doesn't really look very good for President Biden at this point. This also says that the article also says that amid a record number of border crossings, nearly 2/3 of Americans said illegal immigration is a real crisis, not a politically driven media narrative. And so Trump, as you guys know, has vowed to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, eyeing sweeping raids and detention camps in a plan that would target millions of undocumented immigrants. Again, friends, you know, the way that I view this issue, I don't want anyone to be afraid of this, okay? Do not be afraid of this. Again, the idea of mass deportation is something that it's lofty, it's so big, it's so ambitious, but can it happen? Not on the scale or level that is being discussed during this political season. And of course, as you know, this is the type of rhetoric to get people stirred up to go to the polls and to vote for Trump, right? And so as we consider this change in opinion here by a lot of Americans, I want to shift to how the White House now is trying to really do something to maybe get more voters. Okay, they're trying to get more voters. And so here's what they're trying to do. Let me just jump to that on this screen here. Give me a second here to get my bearings. Okay, so here's what they are trying to do now. The White House is saying, well, we've got to really do something about this. We've got to get back on the good side of immigration because we're losing. We're losing, right? So White House weighs immigration relief for spouses of U.S. citizens. Friends, they're talking about potentially putting in place a parole that would allow those of you who are here, my understanding, and this article gets into it, that there are maybe 1.1 million people who would be impacted positively from this move, would put this parole in place to allow you to be able to get a work permit and to have a temporary lawful status. So here's what the Reuters article is saying. The White House is weighing ways to provide temporary legal status and work permits to immigrants in the United States, in the U.S. illegally who are married to American citizens. Three sources familiar with the situation has stated that Democratic lawmakers and advocacy groups have pressured President Biden to take steps to protect immigrants in the country illegally, as Biden simultaneously considers executive actions to reduce illegal border crossings. So you've been in the news, you know that the president is considering measures to get the border under control. And so here you have a strong advocacy push that says, well, as you're considering those proposals, also consider those who have been in the United States for years with no status and give them something. They need something, okay? And so here it says the Biden administration also has examined the possible use of parole in place for spouses of U.S. citizens. If you like this, give me some hearts and likes. I just saw one come through, but I think this would be great news for a lot of people, okay? Parole in place for spouses of U.S. citizens. The temporary status would provide access to work permits and potentially a path to citizenship. No actions are imminent or finalized, the sources say. And the White House spokesperson said the administration is constantly evaluating possible policy options, but declined to confirm discussions around these specific actions. So this to me would be great news, okay? This would be great news to be able to help 1.1, I didn't get to that part in the article, but it's about 1.1, an estimated 1.1 million immigrants in the U.S. illegally are married to U.S. citizens, okay, according to some data sources there. 1.1 million could be impacted by something like this. And certainly we meet with a lot of people who are just completely stuck, who cannot do anything because of how they cannot do anything with their status because of how they entered the United States. So the White House has a lot of power, okay? A lot of power to take these executive actions, put a parole in place. They've done that for for family members of those who are in the military, right? This is something that they can do. This is definitely within the president's power to do. And certainly it could help him get some votes in November if he helps the 1.1 million people who are connected to U.S. citizen voters. I think that's obviously the idea here as well. So, and from my standpoint, they can act, he can do this. And so we're going to definitely keep watch over this. The other thing that can be done, and this would be a tougher thing to do because this would really require Congress's involvement, and it has to do with a legislation that I've been thinking about a lot lately, which I have never talked about, but it's the American Families United Act, okay? For those of you who are all about that act, type it in, the American Families United Act. Very, very, very significant legislation that has been reintroduced over the past, I don't know if it's since 2011 or sometime like that, but for the last several Congresses, this legislation has been reintroduced and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just still stuck in the House Judiciary Committee, Subcommittee on Immigration. And that particular legislation, friends, would mean so much to a lot of people because it would allow those of you out there who cannot do anything with your immigration status because you have permanent bar on your record, permabar, or you have other serious immigration violations and you're stuck, you cannot do anything. It would allow some of you who are connected to U.S. citizen spouses to be able to get legal status in the United States. So that's the one piece of legislation that I think you should be looking at, and that would be a very significant change to our law to allow a lot of people to gain the freedom that they're seeking. So you guys could look that legislation up, and there's a strong advocacy push for that as well, but it hasn't really, this is politics and it hasn't really gone anywhere. So that's what's going on the bigger level, friends. Let's see. So again, what I think that you guys should do is stay encouraged, stay plugged in, Do not lose heart. Do not lose hope. There are things happening, big level things happening, even at the Supreme Court. They recently heard arguments about whether foreigners foreigners who are outside of America should have the right to get a decision from a U.S. embassy, a refusal. If they've been refused a visa to come to the United States, they're saying, well, we want a real reason. Tell us those security reasons. Why were we denied? Why were we refused? That issue was actually at the Supreme Court just several days ago, on Monday, I want to say. And so the court is considering a big immigration issue right now. So there are a lot of things happening. It's just that, I think that we have to just be plugged in, subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet already subscribed as well, and just stay plugged in, stay encouraged, and know that a lot is going on. I'm going to jump off now, but on Monday, I'll be back on McBean Immigration TV with our live Q&A session. So join me on Monday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for the next live Q&A chat with you. Guys, thanks so much for being with me in this one. Share this with other people. Type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now, and have a terrific weekend. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.